Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. If you look back at the last 500 years of history, global superpowers haven't usually been toppled just by someone having a bigger army. They've been disrupted by paradigm-shifting technologies. Whether we're talking about mastering open ocean navigation or the Industrial Revolution, the nation that commands the technological frontier basically gets to write the rules for the rest of the world. And today, well, we're standing at the edge of another massive shift in how the world operates. We're going to break down exactly what that means for the current global balance of power, and spoiler alert, the stakes have literally never been higher.
We are entering a seriously volatile new era, which brings us to, honestly, the biggest geopolitical question of our time. Will the United States remain the world's most powerful nation, or are we going to see new challengers successfully rise up and take that spot? And we aren't just asking this as some fun thought experiment. I mean, with the sheer speed of generative AI breakthroughs, plus all the recent developments in hypersonic and orbital technologies making headlines every single week, this question is suddenly on a hyper-accelerated timeline. The answer is going to dictate everything from the stability of international supply chains down to the realities of our everyday lives.
So, to figure that out, we're going to look at 6 critical areas: the technology powerhouse, defense and space frontiers, AI and future jobs, the US-China rivalry, growing US-India relations, and finally, adapting for the future.
Let's jump into Section 1, the technology powerhouse. This is where we look at the absolute foundation of America's current global strength.
Right now, the United States leads the world in 4 massive foundational domains of innovation. We're talking artificial intelligence, robotics, space technology, and advanced computing. But it's really important to understand why these specific 4 are the pillars here. This isn't just about getting a faster smartphone. We're looking at compounding technologies. Think of it like a giant feedback loop. Advanced computing, especially the race toward quantum computers, speeds up AI training. That AI then exponentially improves the software running next-gen robotics and deep space navigation. The trillions of dollars pouring into these sectors represent the tools that will literally build the future infrastructure of human civilization. Leading in these categories is exactly what gives the US its incredible edge today.
To really wrap our heads around the gravity of that tech edge, just think about the domino effect it creates. The countries that lead in artificial intelligence are poised to lead the entire global economy. Take healthcare, for example. AI systems aren't just filing paperwork anymore. They're successfully predicting complex protein structures in a matter of hours. That's a process that used to take human researchers decades of painstaking lab work. In defense and logistics, predictive algorithms are completely rewiring how global supply chains operate. Basically, whoever controls the underlying architecture for these massive shifts holds the master key to the 21st century marketplace.
Moving on to Section 2, defense and space frontiers. Let's see how all this technological dominance translates directly into military power.
Okay, so while the US obviously maintains one of the world's most advanced traditional militaries, the whole nature of conflict has fundamentally mutated. Future conflicts just aren't constrained to conventional battlefields like land and oceans anymore. The real battlefronts are expanding straight into cyberspace and outer space. On any given day, thousands of sophisticated cyber probes are out there actively testing the vulnerabilities of national infrastructure, everything from power grids to financial networks. And meanwhile, the orbital space above us, which holds the satellites that run our GPS and our communications, has become a highly contested tactical zone. Those tech innovations we just talked about, they are quite literally pushing the boundaries of defense into these totally new digital and extraterrestrial arenas.
Because the battlefield is expanding at light speed, the strategy has to expand right alongside it. To maintain its edge, America is heavily investing in these next-generation defense systems. When we say vast investments, we mean billions of dollars deliberately pouring into low-Earth orbit constellations, autonomous drone networks, and integrated sensor grids. It is a high-stakes race to secure the ultimate high ground. The main goal is making sure that as the domains of defense evolve from physical armor into lines of code and orbital assets, the capabilities to protect those domains evolve just as fast, if not faster.
Which brings us to Section 3, AI and future jobs. We've talked about the battlefield, but how are these advancements going to change your actual workplace?
This is where macroeconomic trends hit very close to home. As AI permeates the economy, a lot of traditional, routine-based jobs are inevitably going to vanish. But there's a massive flip side here. An entirely new digital frontier of opportunities is emerging to replace them. We're talking about hyper-specialized roles, prompt engineering, robotic systems integrators, AI ethics officers. But the transition won't be perfectly smooth. The friction really lies in what we call the messy middle, where the labor market aggressively shifts away from manual, repetitive tasks and moves toward managing and troubleshooting these advanced autonomous systems.
So the crucial takeaway here is super actionable for all of us. In the very near future, the half-life of a learned skill is going to shrink dramatically. That makes continuous education more important than ever. A financial analyst, for example, won't just be crunching numbers in a spreadsheet. They're going to need to know how to manage an AI agent that crunches the numbers for them. For the everyday worker, lifelong learning and raw adaptability are going to be the absolute keys to survival and success. You have to be able to pivot exactly when the technology pivots.
All right, let's zoom back out. Section 4, the US-China rivalry. This is really the defining global chessboard of the 21st century.
When we look at the structural realities of global competition today, it's all playing out across three massive arenas: technology, trade, and global influence. Both the United States and China are driving absolutely incredible advancements across the board. In trade, they're both actively maneuvering to secure critical supply chains, like the global flow of rare earth minerals and semiconductors. And when it comes to global influence, it's a huge competition of infrastructure and diplomacy, which we see in vast foreign investment programs and international alliances. How these two nations navigate these three pillars of competition will undeniably shape world politics and the global economy for decades to come.
Next up, Section 5, growing US-India relations. Because while the US is competing with China, it's also actively focusing on vital new global partnerships. The relationship between India and the United States has incredible strategic room to grow. Just look at the three main pillars of this expanding partnership. In technology and defense, both nations are pursuing joint initiatives in AI and next-gen military cooperation. In space, collaboration is accelerating fast, especially tied to frameworks like the Artemis Accords for deep space exploration. And in business, there's a massive shared horizon in clean energy. Think modernizing power grids and really scaling up solar tech. By aligning their interests here, both nations have this vast capacity to strengthen ties that will drive global innovation forward in a really meaningful way.
Finally, Section 6, adapting for the future. Bringing all these complex threads together, what does this actually mean for the American economy?
Look, despite looming challenges and some really fierce global competition, the U.S. economy remains incredibly strong. It's built on a deep-rooted foundation of relentless innovation, highly liquid financial systems, world-leading companies, and a fiercely independent culture of entrepreneurship. But maintaining this position isn't on autopilot. Think of it like this. The foundation is rock solid, but you still have to constantly upgrade the house. Maintaining primacy requires relentless investment. We're seeing this right now with massive legislative pushes to bring semiconductor manufacturing back home and revamp tech education. The U.S. has to continuously pour capital and focus into tech, education, and manufacturing just to keep the engine running at top speed.
The sources leave us with this incredibly prescient quote: "The future will belong to the countries that innovate, learn, and adapt." Ultimately, geopolitical power is no longer just about geography or the sheer size of a military footprint. It is about agility. It's about which nation, which economy, and which workforce can learn and adapt the fastest to an ever-accelerating tech frontier. In a world where standing still is basically the equivalent of moving backward, the real question isn't whether we can adapt, it's whether we are prepared to adapt fast enough to actually claim the future. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and keep learning.